Okay. Hi, Polly. Nice to meet you again. Have you done the homework I assigned you last time? Last time I told you to review the whole story about Mr. Seahorse. 你有做我上次给你的家庭作业吗？上次我叫你把全部的绘本再重新稍微读一次。No? Okay. Then no worries. I'll review this time. And I admit this time this topic is a little bit boring, but no worries. We can go through it 好不好？我们今天的课程我承认有点稍微无聊，但是我们其实可以关关难过关关过，好不好？Okay. So next, you still remember this topic is called Mr. Seahorse, right? 什么是 Mr. Seahorse？老师再问你一次。What is Mr. Seahorse in Chinese? 哦，海马先生。好，这个还记得，还不错，好不好？OK OK。Now, Mr. and teacher will claim that you should. Teacher will read aloud the whole page one time, and you have to repeat after me the second time. 老师念过整段课文一次，不算课文啊，讲的太严肃了。老师会念过这些文字，然后第二次的时候，请你跟我复述一次，OK？ For example, Mr. and Mrs. Seahorse go into the sea. Mr. Seahorse begins to move his body. 好，这时候你要跟我念 Mr. and Mrs. Seahorse go into the sea. Yeah, repeat after me, please. Mr. and Mrs. Seahorse go into the sea. Very good. And next, Mr. Seahorse begins to move his body. Mr. Seahorse begins to move his body. Good. 哦，有跟上哦。Keep it going, man. It's time for me to lay my eggs, she says. Can I help? Asks Mr. Seahorse. 你现在都懂这些意思吗？需要老师翻译给你听的吗？目前还不用。好，做得很好。Okay. Oh yes, thank you, says Mrs. Seahorse, and she lays her eggs into a pouch on Mr. Seahorse's belly. I'll take good care of our eggs, says Mr. Seahorse. Okay, now you repeat after me. Okay. It's time for me to lay my eggs, she says. It's time for me to lay my eggs, she says. Okay, very good. Can I help? Asks Mr. Seahorse. Can I help, Mr. Seahorse? Oh, yes, thank you, says Mrs. Seahorse. Oh, teacher will abort this right now because do you remember what is Mr. and Mrs.? Mr. is like what? Oh, a man, right? And Mrs. is like a woman. Yeah, very good. You still remember that. Oh, yes, thank you, says Mrs. Seahorse. Okay. And she lays her eggs into a pouch on Mr. Seahorse's belly. I'll take good care of our eggs, says Mr. Seahorse. Good. Mr. Seahorse goes into the sea. He sees. Mr. Seahorse goes into the sea. He sees a group of trumpetfish hide in reeds. A group of trumpetfish hide in reeds. Trumpetfish is like a fish that's very long, remember? Yeah, it's like the picture. It's like the one on the picture. Hides in reeds like grass. Yeah. Yes. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. How are you, Mr. Stickleback? Asked Mr. Seahorse. Delighted, replied Mr. Stickleback. I just built a nest and right away. Mrs. Stickleback laid her eggs into it. Now I'm taking good care of them until they hatch. Keep up the good work, said Mr. Seahorse, and swam on his way. Okay, now again, repeat after me. Okay, but before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. Okay, how are you, Mr. Stickleback? How are you, Mr. Stickleback? asked Mr. Seahorse. Asked Mr. Seahorse. Delighted means very happy. You know what happy is? I'm now very happy talking to you. 跟你讲话现在很开心，好不好？ Replied 回复 Delighted, replied Mr. Stickleback. Delighted, replied Mr. Stickleback. Yes, I just built a nest right away. 建立一个巢穴，好不好？ Even fish need a nest. Yeah, 鱼也需要巢穴。I just built a nest and right away. Good. Mrs. Stickleback laid her eggs into it. Mrs. Stickleback laid her eggs into it. You mean you still remember what lay eggs mean? Yeah. 孵蛋. Yes. Chicken, fish. Like, I'm not good at 生物. Yeah, they all lay eggs. Now I'm taking good care of them until they hatch. Now I'm taking good care of them until they hatch. Now, hatch is a very special word. Hatch 这个字蛮特别的. It it is with laid eggs, but it's mean 孵化. Yeah, it's only it usually combined with the word laid eggs. 通常跟laid eggs 个字做搭配使用，好不好？ Keep up the good work, said Mr. Seahorse, and swim on his way. Keep up the good work, said Mr. Seahorse, and swim on his way. OK， 这边有问题吗？你还是不懂 hatch. You still don't know. You still don't know how to use hatch. OK. If you lay, if some animals lay eggs, you can watch the eggs like crack. You know what I mean? 那个蛋总会碎掉嘛，然后里面的动物会出来。The animal will went out or go out. That is hatch, like the egg crack. This process, 这个过程就是 hatch. Okay, good. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by. OK，老师上次有点匆忙，可能没有讲太多这些字的意思，好不好？这次帮你建立起那个单字库，好不好？ I will build your vocabulary bank. Good. Drifted means like flow, like 飘，像海马，这是海马，这是海马，海马 drifted in the sea. 海马在海里飘。Gently it means slowly. You probably heard the word gentleman because they act very gentle, 很优雅的，很缓慢的。Yeah, gently through 在中央，在海的中央，或者是海里。Yeah. Okay, 跟我念一次. Repeat after me. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by. He passed right by, like 经过. He saw. He passed right by and saw. Okay. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, 来再念一次. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by. Okay. He passed right by what? Can you guess if you review this whole storybook? What he met next? 你上次如果有在复习一次，你可以稍微知道上次他见到了什么，或者是你可以从课本这边来去判断他遇到了什么。You can yeah assume guess. You can guess what he met. Oh, what is okay? I'll give you a hint. Like what is um sorry, what is Look, what fish looks like a lion? Oh yeah, you get it, lionfish, right? Okay, he just meant lionfish. Okay, yeah, lionfish. A lionfish hidden behind a coral reef. Yeah, coral reef. Oh yeah, you know what coral is? 珊瑚，对不对？ And what is reef? Reef. I don't know how to explain, but you can. 的中文是礁哦，珊瑚礁 coral reef. Okay, that's pretty much this. That's much. It's really hard to explain that. I can. Yeah. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. How are you, Mr. Tilapia? Asked Mr. Seahorse. Mr. Tilapia couldn't answer. His mouth was full of eggs. "Ugh." I know, said Mr. Seahorse. Mrs. Tilapia laid her eggs. Now you are taking good care of them until they hatch. Okay, hatch. 看过一次了吼。Mr. Tilapia nodded his head. You must be very happy, said Mr. Seahorse, and swam on his way. OK，这边来解析一下。我们先念一次好了。But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. Yeah. But before long, Mr. Seahorse, sorry, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. Oh, another, another. 另外一条鱼，刚刚前面我们有提到，可是你发音要稍微念标准。真的，另外一条叫 another，good another。But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. Yeah. How are you, Mr. Tilapia? Tilapia is hard to pronounce. It's a fish name, so you can just be fluent as possible. 顺畅就好，但不雕当然是念对最好，但是这个其实没那么重要。OK，Mr. Tilapia, Mr. Tilapia, how are you, Mr. Tilapia? Asked Mr. Seahorse. Yeah, Mr. Seahorse couldn't answer. His mouth was full of eggs. Mr. Tilapia couldn't answer. His mouth was full of eggs. Good. I know, said Mr. Seahorse. Mrs. Tilapia laid her eggs. I know, said Mr. Seahorse. Mrs. Tilapia laid her eggs. Now you are taking good care of them until they hatch. Now you are taking good care of them until they hatch. You still remember this word, right? What is it? 前面才解释到，不会像是忘掉了吧？忘掉了吧？忘记叫什么？ Hatch， 孵蛋，看到吗？Good，在。Mr. Tilapia nodded his head. Not, it is mentioned on the last time, and I made it clear it's not shake. It's not. What am I doing? I'm nodding my head right now. If you still can't understand this, then you are very stupid. Not. 对，没错，点头。Good. You must be very happy. Very happy, it means 快乐. Okay, I know you know. But there's another word that can also mean happy. It is mentioned on the earlier pages. Wow, you remember that? It's called delighted. Um, it is, yeah, it's started with a D. Yeah, you're very smart. It is delighted. Delighted. Okay. You must be very happy, said Mr. Seahorse. 我们就复习一下嘛。那个难的字就尽量记得就好了，好不好？ And swam on his way. You must be very happy, said Mr. Seahorse, and swam on his way. Good. As Mr. Seahorse drifted, sorry. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by. Okay, what did he met? What does Mr. Seahorse met? Oh yes, you do review it. A pair of leaf fish hidden among the seaweed. Seaweed，平常在吃的海苔就是类似 seaweed 做的，好不好？这是水草。Good. Okay, let's repeat. Repeat after me. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by. Yeah, 出现过很多次嘛，会了。Fluent. Okay. A pair of leaf fish hidden among the seaweed. A pair of leaf fish hidden among the seaweed. Good. 才子. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. How are you, Mr. Curtis? Asked Mr. Seahorse. Perfectly fine, replied Mr. Curtis. 这边不是在讽刺哦，他真的是过得很好。Mrs. Curtis laid her eggs, and I have stickled them on my head. Maybe it sounds a little sarcastic. I don't know, but this is the whole story talking about. 这不是在讽刺，他真的是过得很好。Now I'm taking good care of them until they hatch. You are doing a good job, said Mr. Seahorse, and swam on his way. 当父母真的不容易啊，他们还要把蛋放到头上，或者是塞进他的嘴巴里。要感谢你的父母啊 ，Polly。Okay, now let's repeat after me. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. Good. How are you, Mr. Curtis? 这个字是 Curtis，这个也是鱼的名字。那这个字也是念的觉得自己标准就可以了。Asked Mr. Seahorse. Perfectly fine. 这边表示他过得很好，完美 ，perfect, perfectly fine. Replied 一样是回复，你还记得哈？Replied Mr. Curtis. Mrs. Curtis laid her eggs on, and I have stuck them on my head. Now I'm taking good care of them until they hatch. You are doing a good job, said Mr. Seahorse. You are doing a good job, said Mr. And swam on his way. 这边都重复过了，好不好？做得很好。And then, as Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by. 这边都提过了，那我们就不再赘述了。A stonefish hidden behind a rock. What is a stonefish? Oh, clearly, a fish looks like a stone. A stone, what is stone? No, 这是不是石子咯？这只是石头。Okay. Stone, 石头。Well, in case you don't know. A stonefish hidden behind a rock. Repeat after me. Stonefish. Stonefish. Okay. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. 他到底遇到几条鱼呢？你有没有在复习呢？OK， 如果你还没复习过，然后你忘记的话，这边都对你来说是个惊喜，好不好？It's a surprise for you if you didn't review it. Good. Then we can continue. How are you, Mr. Pipe? Asked Mr. Seahorse. Couldn't be better. 这边也是指 perfectly fine，都是一样是指非常好。如果 if someone told you how's your day, like I asked in the first place， 像我今天问你，你今天过得好吗？你就可以说 couldn't be better, perfectly fine, yeah, good job。下次可以这样说，我会考你哦。没有啦。Replied Mr. Pipe. Mrs. Pipe laid her eggs along my belly. Belly. What is belly? OK， 等一下再谈好，我先把课文都念完。好 ，Mrs. Pipe laid her eggs along my belly. Now I'm taking good care of them until they hatch. You should feel proud of yourself, said Mr. Seahorse, and swam on his way. OK, what is belly? I give you 5 seconds to think about that. It's a 给你个提示 ，It's a body part， 是个身体部位。上次我还露出来哦，而且是非常大的地方。It's a big body part in my body. What is it? 没错，讲到很大你就知道了，是我肚子，好不好？有点感伤的。It's a little bit sad for teacher. Oh, no worries. Wait, I just wish you could be you can be happy. That's all I ask for. Okay. Repeat after me. Yes. Calm down. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. How are you, Mr. Pup? Asked Mr. Seahorse. How are you? Couldn't be better. How are you today, Polly? Couldn't be better, replied Mr. Pipe. Mrs. Pipe laid her eggs along my belly. Now I'm taking good care of them until they hatch. You should feel proud of yourself, said Mrs. Seahorse, and swim on its way. Good. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. How are you, Mr. Ballhead? Asked Mr. Seahorse again. Ballhead is just a fish name. Tip top, replied Mr. Ballhead. Tip top. Um, good. Okay, means good. Mrs. Ballhead laid her eggs and the eggs hatched. Now I'm babysitting. Babysitting. 你小时候没有请过保姆啊 Did you have a babysitter before? Yeah, that is called babysit. Yeah, 如果你小时候是需要保姆的话，那你应该会需要 babysit 被保护这样。Babysitting means to protect someone's baby. Yeah, 保护其他人的小孩。That's called babysit. Yeah, repeat after me. Babysit. Good. Babysitting is called. 是正在保护他的小孩。Babysitting. Now I'm babysitting. 所以这条鱼现在在保护他的小孩。Okay. You are doing a fine job, said Mr. Seahorse, and swam on his way. Okay, now I want you to say this word. One, two, three, four, five. The five sentences. What is how to pronounce that sentence? 念一次那个句子叫怎么念？没错。Now I'm babysitting. Good. The time had come for the seahorse babies to be born. 这海马的小孩终于出生了。Mr. Seahorse wiggled and twisted this way and that, like twisted, wiggled and twisted，就是这样子。Yeah, a little bit like a sick fish，病鱼啊。At last, the babies tumbled from Mr. Seahorse's pouch and swam away. One baby turned around and tried to come back into the pouch. Oh no, said Mr. Seahorse. I do love you, but now you are ready to be on your own. 小孩刚出来就可以 be on your own，就是他直接独自生活吧，也是 be on your own 就是这个意思，就是自己做一件事情就是 be on your own，yeah。这边有什么不懂的地方吗？因为你这样看起来，你语文能力是其实不错的。You are good at English. Good. You're doing very well so far. Okay. And I'll give you the next assignment. Like, read the whole storybook one time. Yeah, that's simple. 你看老师对你多好，这么简单的作业，叫你把整篇绘本就念一次而已。OK，但是你要做到哦。You have to promise me. You have to review the whole storybook and pronounce it out loud. And if you can, just read it to your parents, like to let them feel proud of you. 让他们觉得你有这个小，让他们觉得有这个小孩好棒，他们会念英文，好不好？Good，来打勾勾，打勾勾。Good 拜拜。